This is Victoria Scott
and Chloe Amaya presenting to you
the Salem Witch Trials.
The Salem witch trials were a biased and cruel act against the people in Salem village. The witch trials started in Europe but were most known in England because most witches were found guilty there. The idea of witchcraft spread to America when pilgrims came as settlers. When pilgrims came to Salem, they didn't have any crops, they were unfamiliar with the land, and were fighting against the Native Americans. Some preachers took advantage of the people in Salem, making them horrified of witches. This made the people of Salem very paranoid and caused them to turn against each other. This affected the American legal systems. Now, courts must listen to the accusers and accused with the same respect and not judge based on their own personal ideologies.
There were two families that greatly impacted the Salem witch trials. The two households were the Putnam family and the Paris family. The Putnams were rich residents that conducted many of the witch hunts. They had a high status in the churches, so many others started believing in witches because of them. Samuel, the father of the Paris family, preached about the devil. Samuel's daughter, Betty Paris, and niece, Abigail Williams, had fallen ill of an unknown disease. Since her father was a preacher, he thought that they were cursed by witchcraft. Tutuba, a female that was owned by the Paris household, was proven guilty of being a witch and cursing the children. She had been manipulated into thinking that she was a witch because she didn't deny the accusations, she was just sent to jail. A person was accused of being a witch based off of a minor offense that could place them in jail for up to a year. If a person was accused twice, they would be sentenced to death.
There were over 200 people that got accused of being a witch during the Salem witch trials. 18 people got executed in total. There were also 8 children and 2 dogs that got accused, with 5 people that died in prison.
The first to be accused was Bridget Bishop. She was accused at the ripe age of 60. She was found guilty because 5 girls said she had pinched, choked, and bit them. She also was reported to wearing unconventional clothes. This all contributed to her death.
The next person that got executed was a woman named Rebecca Nurse, age 71. She was proven guilty because she had convinced her husband the trials were wrong. People in the town said that she had put a curse on her husband to make him defiant of the trials.
Elizabeth Howe was in her late 50s when she got executed. She was accused by her husband and his brother. They had said that she was cursing the livestock and the neighbor's child.
Susanna Martin. She was 70 years old and a widow. She had been blaming others of witchcraft. Then people said that she herself was a witch.
Sarah Wilds was a 65-year-old woman. She had committed adultery. Then her sister-in-law started spreading rumors that she was a witch and possessed by the devil. This led to her execution.
There were few men that got executed, one of them being George Burroughs. He was in his late 40s. A previous minister of Salem got arrested with his granddaughter in Maine. She blamed him and was executed in Salem.
Martha Carrier was a 38-year-old woman that was accused after calling herself the Queen of Hell. This obviously led to her being executed.
John Proctor was a 60-year-old man and was openly skeptical about the trials. He was arrested and executed after defending his wife.
John Willard was a policeman that only arrested people he thought were witches. This led to people thinking that he was a witch as well, and consequently getting executed.
Margaret Scott was a begging widow. She had lost children while they were still infants. This led to her being executed.
Sarah Good was a homeless beggar with 2 children, all at the age of 46. Sarah also had a habit of muttering angrily under her breath, which led to her being executed. Dorothy Good, daughter of Sarah Good, was also accused of being a witch because she defended her mother. Dorothy was only sent to jail for around 9 months, but this traumatized her for the rest of her life.
The youngest daughter of Sarah Good was an infant named Mercy Good. She was born in jail and died before her mother was executed.
Thomas Carrier and Sarah Carrier were ages 10 and 7. There were children of Martha Carrier and were arrested and brought to Salem, which is where they were tortured till they confessed.
The next child to be accused was Abigail Johnson, who was later taken to jail and confessed under pressure alongside her older sister and mother.
Margaret Toothacker was only 10 years old and was cousins to Sarah and Thomas Carrier. She also had a sister that was accused.
One of the most gruesome cases of the Salem witch trials was the one of Gills Corey. Gills was a wealthy farmer who was known as stubborn and criticized the trials. He had refused to stand trial and did not plead guilty. He was then sent to receive a torture called bien forte et dur. In this method, there are heavy weights put upon your chest, and they will keep adding weight until you cooperate with the law or die. Corey was a stubborn man, so he did not cooperate. His last words were "more weight," after he had been suffering for over 2 days.
Obviously, these were cruel acts against the people in Salem. The reasons these people were accused was not based on actual reason, but based on bias, prejudice, and hysteria. The accused in Salem, which were most people, impacted the responsibilities of treating every person with the same courtesy, and not based on personal values and disregard for the accused. The responsibilities of a legal system is to trust both the accusers and the accused. The men and women who were so-called witches were not heard and blatantly killed off for no good reason.
The people accused in Salem were deprived of their rights. The accused were put in a situation that if they said they were a witch or not, they were still guilty. This put them in a clear disadvantage in the courtroom. Even though the trials were inhumane, it made the American legal systems realize that the trials were unfair and create a rule called Oyer and Terminer. This translates to hear and to determine. This means that if people in the courtroom cannot judge based on personal values and must go based off the information given from both parties.
Thank you for listening to our documentary about the rights and responsibilities of the Salem witch trials.